Hello, and welcome to this video presentation. My name is Paul Brett. I'm a Senior Software Support Analyst supporting the Transformation Extend product from IBM. The topic for this video is Advanced ITX Run Function Techniques, Part 2. Feel free to reach out to me on popular social media channels at Paul Brett IBM. In Part 1 we showed how certain run function options could be used to detect late failures in certain adapters. In this demonstration we will show how the run function works with most adapters and can be more useful than a get or put function. Additional adapter options can be used with a run that are not available with a get or a put. Converting a get or a put to a run is relatively easy. Let's move on to a demonstration. So let's start this demonstration in the ITX Design Studio, where you see I have one project. Within the project I have one map source file, test.mms, and within that map source file I have several maps. Let's start with test 1. On the one and only output card there is a rule that uses a get with the HTTP adapter, and my URL is using a service that is guaranteed to fail with a known error message. The whole thing is wrapped in a valid, and if the get doesn't work, we will fail with the last error message. So I'm fully expecting this map to fail. Fail function aborted map. Great. So as I said, with the get, there is very little you can do with regards to retries unless you code them manually. Let's move on to test 2, where I've done exactly that. We have the valid function again, and it tries a get to the 503, which we know will fail. But then instead of a fail, we have a repeat of the same valid, and then within that a get to try again. And then if that fails, it goes into the third level of valid and get, and in this case I have an alternate URL which is guaranteed to succeed. And therefore we come out of all three iterations of the valid and the whole map itself succeeds. It runs fairly quickly. There's no pauses in between the attempts. And if we have a look at the trace file, you can have a see on line 4 there, it says retry count is 0, retry interval is 0. We have a success here, so this is the third iteration of that trace. Each one was overwriting the other, and this is a success. So let's move on to using a run function to do the same thing that we're doing here, because this is really long and complicated and completely unnecessary. In test 3, we've replaced the get with a run. We are calling a map called blob, which I shall show you briefly here. It has one input card, one output card, both currently using the file adapter, but both will be overridden at runtime with run function settings. Back to the run function. The override for the input card, IA HTTP1, is overriding card 1 with the HTTP adapter. And here's the clever bit, the retry. It is an adapter retry where I'm specifying to try 3 times with a 3-second gap in between. What this means is this map will last 6 seconds. The initial attempt, a 3-second pause, a second attempt, a 3-second pause, and then a third attempt. Now with this run function I can only specify one URL, so this is definitely going to fail, but it is going to try those 3 times. Let's run this now, see it fail after 6 seconds, and then look at the trace. So the map has failed. Let's go to the trace file and have a look at that. As you can see on line 7 it says retry count is 3, retry interval is 3. And if we go through, at line 67 attempt number 1 failed, will retry after a 3-second delay. Moving on to line 74, attempt number 2 failed, will retry after a 3-second delay. And then finally, attempt number 3 failed, no more retries allowed. So the map failed and took 6 seconds. But in a real scenario where you're trying to get to a real URL, where there is occasionally some flakiness in the service that you're calling, this type of rule rewrite from a get to a run can really mitigate some of the service failures that can occur. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my video presentation today. If you found the content interesting and informative, please hit that like button. Perhaps leave a comment. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, as I release content such as this on a regular basis. Feel free to reach out to me on popular social media channels at Paul Brett IBM. Thank you.